Hey there everyone, I'm Michael, and welcome to another video. Windows 11 is actually not that bad of an operating system. Here's the thing, I am visually impaired. I have been since birth, and it's a degenerative disease, and I'm mostly over it as far as, it being a hindrance to me, but it still does make using a computer somewhat of a difficult task. So primarily I use Windows. Now on this system, I actually have a setup sort of like some ordinary gamers, um, and whereby I'm running Windows in a VM right now, a gaming VM with my graphics card and everything passed through to it. And that's generally how I do it. I run a Manjaro Linux host, and then I have macOS in a VM and Windows in a VM. And that works. So if I want to use Linux, I can use Linux. If I want to use Windows, I can use Windows. And if I want to use Mac, I can use Mac. And I don't have to reboot or anything like that. Now, the reason I use Windows primarily is because out of all operating systems I've tried, other than maybe Android, it has the best accessibility features. Now, macOS comes really close, but it's still not perfect. With Windows, I basically always use this tool right here. No, not that tool. I'm still getting used to these icons, but this tool right here, Magnifier. It's a staple of my YouTube videos. Always, I will zoom in onto things and read them. I try to cut back on that, but you can see that I have to zoom in quite a lot. I run two 32-inch monitors that are all at 4K, and I run them at 1080p because realistically, if I'm going to be zooming in, why do I need 4K? But I digress. The point is here that I use Windows because it is the most accessible to me. I don't use it because I enjoy it. I use it because it's really the easiest way to use a computer for me. And that's important. I write code, and writing code is very hard to do when you really cannot interact with the computer. So, yeah, that's why I run Windows. Windows 8 happened when I was 10 years old. And, I was okay with it. But a lot of people weren't. They removed the start menu, which was a huge controversy. They tried to replace a lot of the UI with touch, and did not do a good job. Even on Windows tablets, Windows 8 is cumbersome sometimes. And, it was a dumpster fire of an operating system. Windows 7 was way better, and Windows 7 is what I grew up on, so of course I'm going to say that. But, Windows 8, kind of trash. Okay? Trash. 8.1, they add the start menu, or the start button back, and a few things like that. But it's really not much better than Windows 8. And then they start releasing the Windows 10 technical preview, and when I saw that, boy was I excited for Win 10. Until Win 10 actually came out. See, Windows 10 as a base desktop user interface is not that bad. The original RTM release of Windows had a really cool looking mix of Windows 8 and Windows 7's desktop. Sorry about that. I'm drinking soda. It was serviceable. We had... Basically, it was like if you took Windows 7 and you gave it the live tiles on the side. That was what Windows 10 RTM was like, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. But it became a lot worse over the years. See, 10586 is a build I'm thinking of in particular. It's one of the release builds. Magnifier ran like absolute trash on that build. You would open up a UWP app and, let's see. Let's open up settings here. So imagine I've opened up settings and it's in a window. And you can see on my screen where that window is. That's the Windows rectangle. If I were to zoom in on that on Windows 10 586, okay, so now you can see that the rectangle is a different area on my screen. It's a lot bigger. Windows 10 586 would kind of clip that. It was like they had a bug in the scissor testing routine or something. I don't know. But it was a massive, massive graphical glitch. It made the computer almost unusable for me. So I was not happy with Windows 10. And then they started doing all the weird advertising and spyware crap. With things like Candy Crush being in your start menu no matter how many times you try to uninstall it. You'd log in sometimes and you'd be pestered to use OneDrive. That happened to me a few days ago, actually, in my VM. You'd constantly have your browser reset to Microsoft Edge, and you'd go to download Chrome, and it would beg you to either use Firefox or please use Microsoft Edge. Please, please. It's my understanding they still do that, but I'm gonna install Chrome anyway. So yeah, there were many things like that that kind of made Windows 10 become off-put. It became off-putting to me. And then they did this weird thing where Action Center became its own part of the taskbar over here, and you'd click on it, you get this big UI that's like all your notifications and stuff, and then Windows 8 style tiles that could have been taskbar items. I didn't like the Action Center UI at all. And then there's like 5 different right-click menu styles in Windows 10. 3 different user interface themes, 3 different icon packs. The UI is totally inconsistent. They tried to add Windows Terminal, but everything would still open command prompt. They tried to make PowerShell a main part of the OS, but then it also only opens command prompt unless you go into the taskbar settings or something weird like that. Many of the UI elements look like they were stolen straight from Windows 8. Windows Smart Screen looked awful. Ugh. So many bad things in the Windows 10 UI. So, cue my disappointment when Microsoft says that Windows 10 is the last version of Windows ever, because you got all this weird UI inconsistency. It seems like the users are now the QA team, and we've got a bunch of advertising going on, and I'm not happy with Windows, so I started using Linux and stuff, and I'm stuck on Windows. I can use Linux. I know how to use Linux, and I love Linux, but it's not accessible. I can't use it as a desktop OS, so I'm stuck on Windows. And a few weeks ago, a little bit of an announcement comes along on the internet. Windows 10 might not be the last version of Windows. And that rumor became an announcement from Microsoft, which ultimately became what's on my screen right now. Windows 11 is an insider build you can now download. It's real. It's really happening. And I want to give you guys my opinion on it. Coming into it on my first day, as someone who's been using Windows their whole life, how is Windows 11 compared to Windows 10? And I gotta say it right now, it's fucking amazing. I love Windows 11. I didn't like it at first, but I love it now. And here's why. This taskbar, okay, there are some issues with it that I will explain along the way, but I want you guys to realize that this is an insider build. The criticisms I'm making are not reasons to hate Windows. These are things that I want Microsoft to change before RTM. Nonetheless, I still have some criticisms I want to make, but this isn't me saying fuck Windows. This is me saying these are things that I don't personally like and I would like them to change. To be clear, I really like Windows 11. However, taskbar. This whole UI here, I like it, where we have the network and the sound. I get what they're going for. You click on the network and you get brought into this whole quick settings type UI. There's the music that I'm listening to in Spotify. Or that I was. There's all my quick settings. There's focus assist, night light, all that stuff is here. There's my volume control. By the way, system sounds are really amazing. I love them. And you can edit this UI to, I presume, add more settings to it, I guess. Which is cool. You can reorder things. So yeah, this is really cool. I like this. This is a lot better than Action Center. Oh my god. Um, and then if you click on network, it takes you, or if you click on sound, it takes you to the same place. And this is something I want them to change. This should be one icon instead of two. They both go to the same place, so why are they two separate buttons? Also, if you right-click on the network, you get the network and internet settings, and if you right-click on the audio, you get your audio settings. Why not have these as, or those right-click menus as shortcuts in here? Or merge the right-click menu into one, and then have this be one icon. See, I don't know how Win32 programming is directly, because I haven't really done it, but I know in C# with WinForms and WPF, a UI element can only have one context menu that you can right-click to open. So, in order for these two icons to have their own separate context menus, they need to be two separate UI elements. Which I'm guessing is what's going on. Of course, I'm not a Win32 programmer, so I don't know. And I'm not a UWP programmer either, so I don't know. But I'm guessing that's what's going on. So it would kind of be easier to just throw a cog icon here or something and make it one button that goes to the one action center or quick settings or whatever you want to call it. And then you have the right click menu for your network and stuff like that. And it works. That's one criticism I have to make, is I would really like this to be a single icon. There's no reason there are separate icons here. Another bug that I noticed is that this whole language bar thingy, I only have one language installed? Okay, maybe I don't. Okay, this menu actually works now. I never installed Canadian English. I'm a United States English person, despite being Canadian. I'm a programmer. We spell color without a U. However, I would like to have the ability to hide this, because I don't need to switch my keyboard layout. There's really no difference between Canadian English keyboard layout and United States English keyboard layout. It's QWERTY, all the buttons are in the same place. There's no difference. So, yeah. It's US anyway. So, I would like to be able to hide this, and I can't seem to find a way to do so without uninstalling the language pack, which I never installed in the first place, so whatever. So that's, I don't know if that was a bug in Windows 10 or 11. I don't know. But yeah, that's something I did notice. Another thing that I would like, or that I have a criticism of it, and that's very widely criticized, is this whole right-click menu here, where we right-click on the taskbar. Usually we have things like lock the taskbar, and task manager, and a bunch of other stuff. Where's the task manager button? Why is it only taskbar settings here? Please bring back the task manager button. But okay, it's an insider build, I can expect that. Start menu. Really love it. Really love it. Though, I'm a programmer. I usually write my own programs, and I have a general suite of programs that I stick to. I don't need you recommending me things, please. Let me hide this UI. Some people might find it useful, I don't. I would rather have the extra space for something else. Please let me remove the recommended UI, or hide it. Other than that, the start menu is perfectly fine. Now, I did have an issue where I first logged in and my start menu was full of like 99% bloatware that wasn't installed. So it was mostly ads. But you can remove them, which is nice. And to my knowledge, they don't come back, which is good. That's a healthy compromise there. So, other than that, the start menu is really good. I like this a lot better than Live Tiles. Also, Windows search, it's the same kind of Cortana-powered search, but it's actually themed. So, I have my nice red theme here, and it's actually themed properly. I can read this! I don't need to invert my... Oh my god, I regret inverting my colors there. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Settings. I really like it, but I do have criticisms. And most of these criticisms are just how I would do it if I were designing a settings app. Not necessarily, please do this, but I... Okay, so here are some things that they did do that I noticed. I haven't fully explored the settings UI, because quite frankly, most of these I don't need to change. But I do like that Windows Update is Windows Update. This is not where you go to activate Windows or to recover your system. If you want to do that, you go to System, and that's more logical. That makes sense. So yeah, there's your activation and all that stuff. Awesome. However, we also have Bluetooth and devices. Personally speaking, I would move Bluetooth and devices. I would take Bluetooth out of here and I would move it into network. Because Bluetooth is networking related. Now, you do primarily use it to pair devices, but I would keep Bluetooth under networking. Then what I would do is I would take my devices section and I would move the display and sound settings into there. Either that or make them root level elements. Because system, I would expect to go here for like about Windows and recovery and stuff like that, and basic system information, but display, this is a device, or devices, as it were. It should be under devices or under its own root element. Sound is also more of a devices type category, and in fact, I believe it actually does take you to devices, I think. No, it doesn't. But, this is more of a device type settings category than a system type category, in my opinion. So I would move these to their own root kind of categories, since we have this whole category UI. So you have your system, you have your devices and your sound, and you have your Bluetooth and your networking and all that stuff. That's what I would do. But other than that, this is a really good settings UI. Now, what I would like... Actually, I was gonna say I would love to have breadcrumbs, but I just noticed that these are breadcrumbs. So, okay, never mind. I'm glad I looked at that. Okay, so I was gonna make this whole point that I would wish there was breadcrumbs up here, which breadcrumbs are basically these. I was gonna explain what they are, but this is system, and then an arrow, then sound. These are breadcrumbs. This tells you where you are in the UI. And this is a very good feature for accessibility. Because I would see myself getting kind of lost if I started drilling deep into the settings. But they have a solution for that. I just didn't notice it. So that's awesome. I really like that. This settings menu is growing on me. So yeah. Another thing that I did notice is if I go under accessibility, which by the way, thank you. Every other operating system calls it accessibility. Let's not try to be fancy and call it ease of access. It's accessibility. Anyway, what I did notice is there's the new contrast themes setting, or section. This is where high contrast lives. And there are better high contrast themes in this build than there were in Win 10 and Win 8. We have 4 of them now. Now, we always had 4. There was high contrast 1 and 2, and then black and white. But now they have actual clever names, which in itself is cool. And now they have a proper, like, gray dark, because sometimes you do need that high contrast theme, but you don't need this high contrast theme where everything's black and then white. So I like that they added sort of this more traditional gray dark high contrast theme. This looks like something you would run. This is a hacker theme, to be honest with you. Edit the colors a little, add some cyan, and there you go. You have a hacker theme. So that's quite cool. So that's what they've done with contrast themes. I like that. And yeah, so for the most part, this is really cool. Now, I did notice one thing. On my system, I do run dual monitors. You saw that earlier. And usually I have my taskbar on both monitors. That way, no matter what monitor I'm working on, I can get to my start menu, I can get to my applications, and I can get to my time. It seems like they broke that in the new taskbar. There's just a red bar here. And in fact, I had to enable this and restart Explorer to get it to work. By default, the secondary taskbar is disabled. And even if you click on the button to re-enable it, it does nothing until you restart Explorer a few times, and then it it does, this. There's nothing on this taskbar. So it's literally just a red rectangle. So that is a bug. I hope they fix that. Really hope they do. But hey, insider build. I can expect that. So yeah, Windows 11, all things considered, this being an insider build and all, this is a much better operating system than Windows 10. With that said, I'm very psyched, I'm very happy, and I've been Michael. As always, hope you learned something, hope you enjoyed the video, and if there are any other things in Windows 11 that you guys would like me to check out, to look at, give my opinion of, let me know in the comments. I would really like to take a look at this operating system and see what it can do compared to Windows 10. I have to relearn it. There are things in this OS that are definitely different, and there's the reason that I have my taskbar set the way it is. By default, they're centered, and that's kind of well known. I prefer it on the right, or on the left. But if there are any features of Win 11 that you guys would like me to take a look at, I am glad to do so. And with that said, I've been Michael. As always, hope you learned something. Hope you don't have a sense of deja vu from me redoing this outro, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.